this edition of NT Prep Preview. I'm sports writer Brandon LaChance, this is sports editor Kevin Chlum, and sports writer Jared Bell. This week we are going to discuss prep girls and boys basketball. The girls started off with some tournaments this weekend, and the boys started yesterday on Monday. So how did they fare so far, Jared?
Well, the girls, one team won their tournament, and that was Putnam County girls. They beat Stark County in the final. They had about a double-digit lead in the Princeton Tigresses Holiday Tournament Championship game. About 3 minutes left, and they ended up giving up the lead and was tied. Still, though, Putnam County junior Megan Rain hit 2 free throws with 8.7 seconds left, and then senior guard Danielle Pavlovich had the game-winning block. So it was a great win for PEC, especially since they got third in the tournament last year, so hopefully it's a sign of good things to come.
Mendota was in the Oregon tournament this weekend in the championship game against Rockford and Lutheran. They had a 16-point halftime lead, but Rockford Lutheran, put some bigger people in to guard Amy Devitt and Brooke Stallings, and they changed the game around and ended up coming back for the 44-42 win.
Still a pretty good showing for Mendota, getting second in that tournament. They got fourth last year, so they made an improvement. They're off to a pretty good start at 4-1 after beating South Peru on Monday night. South Peru had a little bit of a rough time at the Pontiac tournament. They got blown out by Ottawa and Bradley Bourbonnais, and they didn't win the last game of the tournament against Chicago Ravy. I know Coach Hell's Vickery was positive about the way they played against some of the teams down there. Ottawa had a decent showing down there. They did beat South Peru pretty easily, and they had a pretty decent game against Bradley Bourbonnais on Friday night. They did lose, but they were able to pull within 2 points late in the game, so it was a pretty good showing for them as well.
The boys basketball season started this week. What are some teams to look out for?
Well, I think South Peru is going to have a pretty good season this year again. They won 19 games last year. They did graduate a lot, including NT Player of the Year Jen Soderholm, but they do have Nola Bully back. He was all area last year. They actually have a good amount of size, so that should help them out. And then also in 4A this year, Ottawa, they returned a lot of good players from last year's team that won over 20 games, including John Carroll, who was all area, and a couple of their starters. So those two teams should both be right near the top of the NIB 12 West.
It's unfortunate that LP and Ottawa are in different classes this year, because can you imagine a regional final between those two teams, which could have happened this year? Both of them are good enough, but that's not going to be the case. We also have St. B, who graduated pretty much everybody on their team except for one kid. Still, though, they returned a lot of talent from a sophomore team that went 22-3 last year. So they're 1A this year, which will definitely help them. One other 1A team that they could run into is Putnam County. They returned a lot of key players from last year. They did lose some of their top kids in Xavier Warren and Cody Veranda, but they do return Harold Fay as a senior. He had a great start at the Kewanee Weathersfield tournament. We also have teams like Hall, who will return a couple of kids, but not a lot. They're also kind of new. Mendota is the same way, in which they returned James Carroll and Mark Prescott, and that's about it. So there's some teams like that definitely return some talent, and others that really are new and we'll have to kind of figure out what they are in the early part of the season.
Well, you can't forget about Henry in 1A as well. They returned 4 starters, including Nathan Helly as a senior. So they should be pretty good, winning 20 games last season. And then BB should be pretty good with Parker Newholm and Tommy Johnston back. So it should be a pretty good season for area boys basketball.
And you can never forget about Fieldcrest. They have a lot of the kids coming back. They're not necessarily kids who started last year, but let's be honest, it's Fieldcrest. They're always good, so they're definitely going to be a team to look out for. And Marquette's had some kids coming back from football. They got to a slow start here this week because of football. They only had about 6 practices, but they had a great upset win over Henry last year in the regional semifinals, so they hope to build on that.
Also, we have wrestling starting up. How's the season faring out so far?
Well, we have a lot of kids back this season. It should be one of the best wrestling seasons we've had in a while. At least I hope so. We have about 6 kids from Ottawa who were ranked preseason in the IllinoisMatman.com rankings, which is pretty much the rankings that everyone goes by. We also have 2 kids from LP, and Jacob Weaver and Riley Sweetland. Daniel Close, who's a junior from Ottawa, was ranked number 2 at his weight. It's the best in the area, so hopefully he can do well as everyone else. You also have Alex Fuentes, Sereno Rayfield, Devin Jones, Sean Talby. And those are just the kids who are ranked. And every single year you have a couple of kids who are not ranked who kind of come on as the season go along. And maybe someone like a Mendota's junior Jaron Robinson or Princeton junior Drew Pranka could be one of those kids. So definitely going to be hopefully a really, really good season for area wrestling, which wrestling used to be really good in our area. It's kind of fallen down over the last couple of years. We hope it rebounds. Well, guys, our first powerhouse player of the week is actually somebody that I've already mentioned. It's Mendota junior James Carroll. He had quite the strong end to last season in helping Mendota win the regional title. And oh, by the way, he had a great start to this season. In Monday's season opener, he had 20 points and 10 rebounds. He really was kind of the catalyst for Mendota beating Hall at the Seneca tournament.
Well, another big scorer for the second powerhouse player of the week, and that's Cassidy Rice from Ottawa. The senior had a good start to his senior season. I think a couple games in, scored 29 points and a win over LP, also a career high.
The third powerhouse player of the week is Bureau Valley guard Parker Newhoff. He scored 28 points and grabbed 7 rebounds in the Kewanee Weathersfield tournament last night against Anawan. Thank you for watching this week's edition of the NT Prep Preview. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families, football, and all the stuff that comes with probably my favorite holiday of the year. Please come back next week and check us out on www.newstrib.com.
/.
Sports.